and resources that we're offering to our customers who are still currently impacted by this PSPS event. So we want to start with a recap of where we stand right now. Last night and today, we continue to see high winds in certain areas. In fact, over the past 48 hours, they've been some of the strongest of the year. Gusts of up to 89 miles per hour have been recorded during this event. Now, at this hour, the winds have subsided in all areas affected by the shutoff, and that's great news because we were able to start our restoration process. So we want to give you a snapshot now of how that restoration process is going. As a reminder, on Sunday, we made the decision to shut off power to about 350,000 of our roughly 5 million electric customers. Now, we did this as a last resort for safety, given the severe weather conditions and the potential for wildfire due to the dry fuel on the ground and the very low humidity. Now, as of this briefing, about 305,000 customers have been re-energized. The remaining 45,000 customers will be restored between now and tomorrow midday as the weather has cleared. Now, I'll also note our initial reports indicate that we saw 130 incidents of damage or hazard to our equipment during this wind event. These are types of damages that have the potential to ignite a wildfire if the lines were energized. And we're still out patrolling and inspecting those lines, and we could find more instances of damage. Mark is going to share more on that in just a moment. Finally, I want to reiterate, we do have support and resources for our customers. We absolutely understand how difficult it is to go through a public safety power shutoff, especially right now when many people are working and going to school at home. So we are offering help in a number of ways. Right now we have 82 community resource centers still open throughout the impacted areas. Those will stay open until 10 o'clock tonight, and then they will reopen at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning as needed. We've also provided backup batteries for medical devices and partnered with local food banks and community-based organizations to offer further assistance. Vanessa is going to discuss the details of that in just a moment. But for now, I want to really thank everybody for your patience and your understanding as we continue to work to keep our customers and our communities safe during these severe weather events. Now, as we speak, our crews are focused on working safely and as quickly as possible to get the lights back on. And to learn more about how that process is going, I want to turn it over to Mark Quinlan. He's our Director of Operations for this event. Good evening, Mark.
Hey, good evening. Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening, everybody. Want to start off by thanking all of you, our customers and communities that we serve, for your patience as our men and women are out there doing everything they can within their powers to safely restore your electric service as a result of these high wind conditions that we were experiencing. Please know that we understand that power outages are hardships, especially with our current environment. And that's why we take them so incredibly seriously prior to calling a public safety power shutoff event. That's how we're mitigating wildfire safety. I do want to talk a little bit about where we stand right now as of this briefing. So you can see the event scope, roughly 350,000 customer accounts that were impacted by this event. We're currently sitting at 87% restored. This number is expected to rise as we continue. Right before this briefing, we were right around 45,000 customers that were still out of service, still experiencing an outage. But we are in the process of patrolling and restoring. We have declared weather all clears for every county and every tribal land that was impacted by this event. The latest one came in right around the noon hour. And so we've been working very hard to safely and efficiently restore your electric service. If we go to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about how we're doing that and what we do in the process of doing that. So first and foremost, we have a sizable fleet of employees and air resources out there that we use to actually patrol and inspect our system prior to turning the lights back on. The reason we can't restore immediately after the weather all clear is because we need to confirm that our electric system is safe prior to re-energizing it. We do that through the resources that are listed on this slide. As mentioned, we have 65 helicopters. All of them are currently in the air. Actually, some of them are landing now as we're running out of daylight, but they have been in full service throughout the day, patrolling our infrastructure. We also have a fixed wing airplane that has some infrared camera, high resolution camera, and some technology that allows us to see our electric system at night. We've been leveraging that for the last 2 evenings to do pre-inspections of our facilities, as well as to confirm that they were safe to energize. So that came as a help to us today. And a sizable workforce that's out there still working tonight, and they will continue to work into the evening, even after the sun goes down, patrolling on ground to make sure that the wires are safe from any types of hazards, and we can restore your power. The next slide will go into some of the damage cases that we found while doing those inspections. So this number has risen dramatically today. We're currently at roughly 130 damage or hazard cases that have been reported to us. We expect this number to rise. The crews in the field are working very hard. They're still reporting in clear as we return your electric service to you. And so far, we've received 130 damage or hazard cases. There's a number of them listed here or displayed here on the slide, different pictures. Most of these, what we find, are vegetation related. You can see some of the examples going county by county, but some pretty significant damages on our distribution system, both at the primary voltage level and the secondary low voltage level. So these are the electric lines that run through the neighborhoods, down busy streets, and that you may see as you're driving. Those are the primary electrical wires on the distribution system. And then there are other wires that may go from the pole or the transformer to your house, to your electric meter. Those wires we're finding down and damaged due to the high winds and the vegetation related hazards that we're finding. Every one of these, important to note, every one of these 130 damage cases that we found so far could have been an arc flash event. When foreign materials make contact with our electric lines, typically what happens is an arc flash event. Sometimes there's some sparks that occur, wires can hit the ground. And when that happens, the probability of a fire ignition is high. And if that happens while we have very high winds, it's very, very dangerous if there's an ignition and the ignition spreads very quickly. It's very difficult to patrol. That's the fundamental concept behind Public Safety Power Shutoff. If we shut the lights off, and we do that in an efficient manner, making these events as small as we can, then if foreign objects strike our lines, there is no spark, there is no flash, because it's all de-energized. But having said, after we receive the all clear, we might have trees like the one that's listed in picture number 3, if you're going left to right, leaning into our power lines. And if we were just to energize the system and try to return power at that time, we could have a spark or ignition happen while we're restoring. That's why it's so important and why we take it so seriously to inspect all of our line miles that were involved in the shutoff, just to make sure that they're safe so we can keep you safe. Let's go to our next slide. Okay, I will turn it back to Lindsay for our next presenter.
Mark, before we go to Vanessa, a couple of questions for you. Let's talk about the 45,000 customers who are still without power tonight. Now, I know those numbers are dropping even as we speak. When do you expect the majority of those folks will see the lights come back on?
Great question, Lindsay. The majority of the 45,000 customers will come back this evening by end of day. We do forecast roughly 8,000 customers that we believe will extend into tomorrow. And we anticipate having power restored to those customers right in the afternoon around noon. one of the drivers for that is the fact that the wind conditions did not become safe to start the patrol process that I just mentioned until, after noon this afternoon. So we had limited opportunity to see the wires from the helicopters. But we are, as I mentioned, going to continue our patrols into the evening via ground, and we hope to drive that number down as low as we can. If I had to give you a location where those 8,000 customers exist, they're primarily located in the Sierra Nevada foothills, Northern Sierra, Southern Sierra.
And Mark, can you talk a little bit about how the changing weather impacts how we do restoration? Because it's not as simple as the weather clears and then we flip a switch. Can you talk a little bit about that restoration process and what goes into that and why some customers may be energized sooner than others?
Sure can, and thank you for that. So the restoration process is rather complex. Every electric line starts at a substation. It's no different than the breaker panel or the fuse panel in your home. That's where all the electricity starts in the home, and you have breakers and fuses that protect different rooms in your house. The electric system is very similar to that at the utility scale level. The substation is the same thing as your breaker panel. And so the source is from there. So every line that originates and goes through neighborhoods and feeds all of our residents starts there, and it ends at the end of the line at the last customer that's furthest from the substation. And so what we do when we turn the lights off to the area that needs to be turned off, we actually split that line into multiple segments. That allows us to pre-position our field crews, a group of crews per each segment, and get in a position to go when the weather conditions are safe. Now, once the weather conditions are declared safe, what we do in that case, we start patrolling. But I want to be clear, it's not we could just throw the switch back on and everybody comes out. Or comes back in light or in service. What we need to do is visually inspect. Sometimes we find damages like the cases from the previous slide. Sometimes we don't. And if there's an opportunity to get halfway out onto the circuit and everything is okay up to that point, what we want to do is restore all of the service up to that halfway point and then continue the patrol. We don't want to wait until we patrol the entire line because it just takes longer to do. We would rather patrol to a certain point if it inspects clear and it's safe. Let's energize and return service to those customers and just keep moving along. So I hope that provides a little extra clarity.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And then I think last question for you. We've had a few folks asking us, what are we seeing in sort of the long range forecast? I know we don't have Scott Strenfeld with us tonight, but I know you've been speaking with the meteorologist. Do we anticipate another PSPS event in the next week and a half?
No, we currently don't, and that's great news for all of us and all of our customers. We monitor the weather every single day, and we're very biased towards looking out. If we see a public safety power shutoff event or a wind event that could result in that, that's how we prepare. So we have a forecast model that allows us to see between 8 and 10 days in advance. And it's high level, and it just shows, if there's going to be winds, doesn't really tell you exactly where. But that model looks really, really good, nice and flat, no PSPS events in the near term.
Okay, good. Thanks for that, Mark. I think that's a welcome relief for everyone. We want to turn to Vanessa Bryan now. She's with our local customer experience team. Now, Vanessa, we've got about 45,000 customers still without power tonight. That number is dropping, but we want to make sure that they're aware we do have resources available for them. So please tell us what's happening with the community resource centers and other resources available to our customers tonight.
Thank you, Lindsay, and good evening, everyone. We're now going into our third night of the shutoff for many of our customers, and We know this is challenging, so we're working hard to support you, our customers, and to make this event less difficult. So let me quickly go over how we're doing that. As Lindsay mentioned, the community resource centers, we had 106 community resource centers open to support this event. As of right now, we have 82 of those centers open. Now, they'll stay open until 10 p.m. tonight, and they'll open again at 8 a.m. tomorrow in the areas that are still impacted. So as Mark spoke about, we anticipate most of our customers being restored this evening, and we will shut down those CRCs as the customers in the surrounding area are restored. So I'd encourage customers to continue to take a look at our website, pge.com/PSPS updates, or you can call us at 1-800-743-5000 and find out the current status of open CRCs and the time that they're going to be stay open. Now, these community resource centers have ADA accessible restrooms, charging for medical and personal devices. Folks can get water, light snacks, and it's also getting cooler in some of these areas. So blankets will be available, and our indoor centers will switch from air conditioning to heating as needed. All of our centers do reflect appropriate COVID-19 health considerations, and that includes physical distancing, temperature checks that are administered prior to ever entering an indoor facility, and regular sanitation of services. All of the staff, as you can see from the slide, are wearing facial coverings, and we do request that our customers that are attending do the same. So I also want to talk about how we're continuing to support our customers from a communications perspective. We will continue to provide updates regarding the estimated time of restoration, and that will happen via calls, texts, and emails. And as those lines are patrolled and estimated times of restoration are updated, customers will automatically get those notifications. Once the power has been restored, we'll send a final notification so that if you did leave your home or if you're still at our CRC, you know that you can go back and your power should be restored. So we're also partnering with 55 community-based organizations during this event, and that's really to support our customers that have medical, accessibility, financial, language, and aging needs. This includes partnering with the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers. They provide portable backup batteries, hotel stays, and accessible transportation for our qualifying customers. Now, throughout this event, they've engaged with over 3,000 customers who rely on power for medical and independent living needs. To see a full list of these independent living centers, we encourage customers to visit our website at pge.com/disability and aging. And customers can also learn about support services specific to their county during any disaster by dialing 211. It is a great resource. I also want to point out that we are again partnering with local food banks, as Lindsay mentioned earlier, and Meals on Wheels to provide food replacement options. So again, visiting our website, pge.com/disability and aging, you can see a list of those participating food banks, Meals on Wheels, and other resources that are available in your area. So if you experience food loss, the power's been out for some time now for some of our customers, you can go to a food bank, you can get food replacement, and they'll be offering that for the next 3 days following restoration. So in closing, I do hope these resources are helpful in minimizing the difficulties that these shutoffs create for you, for our customers, and want to thank you again for your patience and your understanding. This fire season has been particularly difficult for everyone, and we're very much looking forward to the rainy season ahead. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Vanessa. I want to go back to the CRCs for just a moment. At the peak of the event, I think we had over 100 CRCs open. We have 82, I think, now. Will some of those CRCs remain open tomorrow for the customers who are still without power?
Absolutely. We do not close CRCs until a majority of the customers in the area have been restored, and that's in coordination with County OES. So once the customer number in that area is nearly completely restored, we will coordinate with the county, and then we will work to demobilize that CRC. So if customers remain out overnight, you can rest assured that the CRC or the Community Resource Center that is supporting your area will be open open at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Please come and get what's needed, charge your devices, and get an update on when we can expect restoration in your area.
And Vanessa, we've made a number of, I would say, improvements over last year when it comes to our customer resource centers and our just general customer support efforts. Some of that came from actually talking to our customers and our community partners. Is that right?
Absolutely. We get feedback consistently via our website. We work with external stakeholders, counties, community-based organizations, and we listen to what we can do differently. A number of customers shared with us that they wanted more information sooner. They wanted consistent information, better tools, community resource centers that are in closer proximity. And so we've been working to deliver on all of those items. Community resource centers should be available within about a 30-mile radius of impacted customers. And so for this event last year, we probably would have had half as many centers open. So 106 centers open, really trying to minimize the hardship on our customers and make resources readily accessible. And for customers who need accessible transportation to those community resource centers, the independent living centers can assist with that. So continue to reach out to us, reach out to our partners to get the resources needed to get through this public safety power shutoff.
All right, and 211, always a good number to call as well if you need assistance. Thanks, Vanessa. So with that, just a quick recap for those who may have joined us late during this briefing. 305,000 of our customers have had power restored at this hour. We have about 45,000 customers who are still without power. We're working to restore power to most of those customers by tonight. We expect that we could have about 8,000 customers who will not be restored until tomorrow by midday, and we will have community resource centers available until 10 o'clock tonight and beginning again at 8 o'clock in the morning for those customers who are going into a third night. So with that, I do want to thank our customers for your patience and your understanding as we work through this event and really work to try to keep our customers and our community safe, especially for those customers who are going to push into a third night tonight. We really do appreciate your understanding as we really work to try to keep our community safe during this very difficult wildfire season. Now, looking ahead, as Mark said, we're not forecasting another severe wind event for the next 7 days, so that is some good news. But it is always a good idea to be prepared living in California, as we all know. So how can you prepare? Well, we would direct you to visit our Safety Action Center for more information about what you can do to keep your family, your home, and your business safe during a PSPS or other emergency. And that's safetyactioncenter.pge.com. And with that, thanks very much for joining us. Have a safe night.